Good morning to everyone. Welcome to episode 2. Just in case people have forgotten who the hosts are, it is Caroline and me, Jim.
And our lovely AI portraits.
That's right. Aren't they great? Amazing.
Last week, we learned that AI is everywhere and everyone's using it, whether you knew it or not. Since the last 2 weeks, I'm sure somebody in this roundtable has used it to polish an email or maybe even write a list, maybe even just asked it a silly question to see if it would answer. I recently asked it if a woodchuck could chuck wood, how much wood could a woodchuck chuck? It didn't really have a great answer. It just more told me about the fable of it all. But hey, what's AI good for if it's not going to hallucinate?
That's disappointing. I was hoping for a better answer than that. It was a woodchucking good time, I guess.
It was a woodchucking good time. We're going to play a really, really quick game of Is It Real? And then we will move on to our speaker. So, Claude, is that a real AI platform or is it a fake AI platform?
I know that one.
Perplexity. Has anyone used Perplexity? Do you know if it's real or if it's fake? It's real. I've used it.
Wow.
It's fun. It reads the screen for you and it does it in a way that you can watch it. It's very fun.
Agentic browsing, right?
Task Goblin. Anybody use Task Goblin?
I want this one to be
no.
real. This one has to be real.
It's fake. It's so fake. Don't download anything that says Task Goblin. Jim thinks
Today-
it sounds cool.
Somebody might take that name and run with it.
Grammarly, the Grammarly Go. Do you think that's a real one or a fake one?
I've heard of Grammarly.
Just two more. Vision Forge X. Sounds like Elon Musk could have made it. Anybody used this before? Probably not. Last but not least, our personal favorite, Otter AI. Who
Please
doesn't
tell
love
me
an
that's real.
otter?
That
gotta be
has
real.
to be real. That's gotta be real. Not heard of it, but I love it. I'm going to have to check that one out.
So we have one more poll. We just want to know if you've used AI for any of these in the last 2 weeks since our last Clear Skies, just to see where everybody is using it the most. We're shifting to the practical side of AI today, how you can use it to make your workflows more efficient or simply just to help you narrow down what a more effective plan would be. And I'm going to pass things over to Jim, who's normally my Vanna White, but today he's our Bob Barker.
Thank you. My dreams have become a reality. Well, I am very much an AI novice, unlike Rob last week, who shared a lot of beginner skills. I wanted to take some of those beginner skills and apply them to a couple real world examples. And one of the first ways that I actually started interacting with AI and using to learn was to help plan a trip. So I've always been good at planning trips. The last 10 years or so, I've taken at least one trip probably every year, some pretty basic, some pretty in-depth. I found AI is always best as a complement to your own skills, not just telling it to do something that you don't know how to do. Have a plan when you set up that initial prompt. And for planning a trip, the more details you can give it up front, the better. Hard logistics, when you're actually looking to travel, state your interests specifically. Don't just say, I want to do fun things. The more specific, the better. That's true for any kind of prompting. The more AI can understand about you and what you like, the better it's going to be. Define your tolerances. Always invite AI to ask questions and then define the geographic scope. I want to go to Pennsylvania. I want to go to Texas. I want to stay here in Central Florida. The more details you can give it, the better.
Jim, can you be more specific on defining tolerances? So do you mean like, I can't do anything on Wednesday? Or do you mean like, I cannot walk for more than 30 minutes?
So that's actually going to come up in the next piece of the puzzle here. So here is a week prompt. Plan a road trip for me. You're going to get a bunch of gobbledygook from that. So I'm going to show you what I did. So here is the prompt that I fed it. I gave it where I'm leaving, when I'm going to leave, and what I'm interested in. Amusement parks, carousels, zoos, and other animal facilities. I'm looking at going to this part of the country. I want to avoid weekends as they are more crowded. I like short lines. Here's my driving tolerances. I don't mind driving 2 hours before and after a day. Help me lay out the week and then ask me any questions if possible. So AI comes back with a bunch of questions. And the first thing I noticed, it says June 6th, Friday. And I go, I was not planning on leaving on a Friday. Isn't June 6th a Saturday? Yes, it is. So thanks, AI, for getting a great start. It asked me 14 different questions, but one of the questions it actually asked, which I was really interested to see is, do you actually have any mobility or accessibility considerations? So there's one of those tolerances. If you did have a friend in a wheelchair, or you've got a bum knee, or you have mobility issues, again, the more information you can feed, it asked me all these questions. I eventually gave it all its answers once I corrected the date, and it gave me its first
And it
suggestion of,
still hallucinated the date.
well, we'll eventually get that corrected. So it's given me an initial itinerary. It's given me the date. It's telling me highlights of each of the places. So it asked about what animals I liked in one of the questions. And one of the things I said was lemurs. I actually had a plan mostly planned out with where I was actually going. I just needed help refining it, but I wanted to make a fresh chat for today. So I was trying to steer it in the right direction. But it was interesting that on an open suggestion of just places and dates, it came close to actually what we eventually did narrow it down to. So, it gives you summaries of each of the stops that you're going to be taking. It gives you drive times. It gives you suggestions. Here's just a quick summary of what it initially came up with. And then automatically it came up with action items. Book the Duke Lemur Center immediately. They sell out. You want to look for extra hours here at Hershey Park. This is actually something that AI did teach me. They have something called late hours, where if you buy a ticket for Wednesday, you can actually go Tuesday night for the last 2 hours for free. I had no idea. AI taught me that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I tried to get it narrowed down because I did know where I was actually going. We had a lot of back and forth. And that's one of the things with AI is it is a back and forth. It's not a search engine. You don't just say, what's the weather going to be tomorrow? It's a refining of information. And I even threw it a curveball. Hey, I forgot one. And that's one of the nice things about AI is even if it comes up with a plan, it rearranges it within seconds. I knew I wanted to get to the National Zoo in DC on a Saturday. And guess what? AI agreed with me too. And it gives you some good reasons. It does mention parking, which is something I did discover in my research. You got to get your parking taken care of at the National Zoo. And actually, I'll just jump to the final. I eventually booked hotels. I actually asked for cooler advice because this is a road trip. I like to pack a cooler and help me pick out a new cooler. I made a nice to-do list, things I still need to do. I need to buy my parking. I got to buy another folding stool. Let's buy a crossword puzzle for the car. It's great for making lists and stuff like that. So this is eventually what my final trip turned into. Obviously, I haven't gone on it yet. It is in 3 weeks, so I'm looking forward to it. But here it is. It's a real good way to learn a back and forth of AI. You learn that, yes, it does make errors. I was told that there's a George Washington Carver Park. Google disagrees, and I eventually did have to correct it. So it's great for keeping track of things like AAA memberships. I got choice hotel privileges for hotel bookings. I got individual passes for parks and stuff like that. So it's great for tracking everything. I'm going to flip back to the slideshow and go over a couple extra tips. It's okay if it gives you a recommendation and you don't like it. But again, don't just say, no, I don't like it. Always give a reason, give a preference. The more information it has about you and what you like, the better information it's going to find.
What did you think was the most valuable thing?
It was the extra tips, like I said, the extra hours at Hershey I didn't know about. And it was more of I had an initial outline for where I wanted to go. I was trying to find the most efficient way to go through the trip itself. Is it good to just go up and then work your way back south? Do you do a couple things on the way up and then hit the things at the very north and hit it in the middle? I was trying to balance between what's going to be good from my preference, again, avoiding lines at theme parks, but also what makes sense from a driving perspective. It doesn't make sense to drive 6 hours only to backtrack 2 hours. So I was trying to find the best geographical order that fit within my interests and my tolerances.
So this was about efficiency, but what about the fun stuff that it suggested? I know that you had already had the trip planned before you created this chat. How many of the things that you had already planned did AI suggest to you?
The friend I'm traveling with is a big antique carousel fan. I use that to help me kind of, hey, I'm doing this park for half a day. What's in the area that's not necessarily in the park? Because I know theme parks, but I don't know carousels. So it could help me find stuff that might be between the park I was doing on a Wednesday morning and the park I was doing Thursday. If I'm doing a half day Wednesday, I've got Wednesday afternoon open. What's on the path from point A to point B? It gave me that tip for extra hours. So it did come up with things I didn't know. And
Right.
there's trip planning adjacent things that you might not think that actually have to do with a road trip that AI can help with. Fuel planning and budget planning, contingency planning. Hey, theme parks are outdoors. If it rains all day, I don't have anything to do. So you can ask it, hey, give me something else to do on this Wednesday because it's raining in Hershey, Pennsylvania. This is what I like. And obviously, if you build up that rapport with AI, it learns what you like. So it's going to come up with good recommendations. That's something I never had considered. So, and again, you see the other stuff there, home prep. Don't forget to set the thermostat. Don't forget to clean the dog's water or whatever it might be. Other extra things that you might not think about, apps to download before you go. So there's a bunch of tips that aren't necessarily part of the trip itself, the things that you might not think about.
I
On
love
top,
that
so
home prep list. That
I
you're
know
like,
it's
get everything done before you leave so you come home to a clean place kind of person. So
exact
that's so helpful.
exactly. I'm the one who drives down the street and go, did I close the garage door?
Mhm.
So having a nice little checklist, obviously you got all the AI apps on your phone now, so you can check things off as you're leaving the house and getting all that good stuff done. So
Heck
yeah, again,
yeah.
like I said, a good introduction to AI to get comfortable with how it works, pluses and its minuses. So we're going to flip a little bit from the personal to the more professional. So everyone here at Cloud9 knows I love a good spreadsheet. I am the data guy. I love a good
He's the
formula.
Excel man.
I am that guy. So we had this little experiment that we're in the middle of where we're going to have the techs do a rotation for being remote on Fridays, and we needed to come up with a schedule. So I added to the existing spreadsheet. We have a weekend on call rotation now. So I added a tab to that, and I wanted to come up with a formula that essentially said on week one, these were going to be the techs that were going to be remote. These are the ones that are going to be in the office, and so on and so forth. But I need help with the formula. I had a layout, as you can see on the first slide here. It's not the prettiest thing. I'm not the most creative person, but it would have got the job done. But I needed help with the formula. And that's where I went to AI. It came back, it proposed next look up here. It gave me a bunch of errors because that's the problem with AI is I had a existing file and I uploaded it, but it didn't understand everything that I had already put in there. So it was running into a bunch of errors. I had some data validation, I had some hard coded stuff, I had formula stuff. So we had a little bit of back and forth. I was going to have this little index that would drive all these things. Like, give me a formula that will help this. And then in our back and forth of trying to fix formulas and stuff like that, I came up with the idea of, hey, why don't I have AI actually do me a whole new layout? I know everyone's brains processes data a little bit differently, but I said, why don't you draw me something that's a little bit nicer to read for the other people who aren't necessarily spreadsheet people? And it did this layout on its own. We still had a bunch of formula problems, but it came up with this layout more horizontal. It came up with this legend above the colors. I didn't do that. It brought in the weekend on-call schedule. Like I said, that's what this file actually started as, was who's going to be the on-call tech this weekend. So I was ecstatic because I didn't have to come up with this. I didn't have to come up with colors or anything like that. There were multiple attempts at fixing formulas. I have 5 or 6 versions of this file. And that's the nice thing about AI is I uploaded the original file. It would give me a new one to download. I could tinker with it, find the errors. I'd re-upload the file again, or I'd do a screen grab of the error that it was giving. And again, back and forth, having a conversation. Eventually I hit the point where I said, you know what? I'm going to take what you have done and I'm going to use my own formula. So that's what I ended up doing. I used an index match and said, your stuff's not working AI, but I'm going to take it and I'm going to finish it off. And it became a collaborative effort between AI and myself. I started it. It took it, made it a little bit better. I took it, made it even better.
So
You
you
know,
only
I,
used it as a stepping stone, really. You didn't
yeah,
have it
and
create everything.
correct. So like it says on the bottom here, I knew my data better than AI did. I could have written some of these formulas. Yes, it would have taken me a lot longer. I obviously ended up writing some. AI ended up fixing a lot of other stuff. It was a collaborative effort. I'll actually pull up the file that I can share with everybody.
We're using this now every day, right? Isn't this in huddles
So
now?
it's each week because it's just the Friday. So here it is. Everything is driven by this nice little index down here. So if I change it to 1, the values, you can see Lene and Rodrigo swapped. And then another thing that I added it, actually, I had AI do this right here, was this is checking whoever the on-call tech is for that weekend, they have priority to be remote. So Gianna was on call last weekend. She needs to be remote. So we have a project coming up next week where we essentially need everybody in the office. It's actually yelling that Lene is the on-call tech, but she's listed in office. So if it wasn't a project week, there would be something that would needed to be addressed, or at least talk to Lene of, hey, are you good with coming in the office on Friday? So again, AI came up with this little triangle with the exclamation point in it. That's not on your keyboard. I came up with making it orange. So it's just a nice little check. Again, we're trying to quality of life. So,
Right. And it's so
and
much
that's,
easier to read than your other spreadsheet. And I'm a spreadsheet person. This one just, it reads a little easier.
yeah. And like I said, I am not creative. So AI did the creative lifting on this one. So I'm happy to have
Which
it.
models did you use, or did you use a specific platform that you're working in most of the time?
So I started in ChatGPT like a lot of people. A couple months ago, I know Gemini came out with a new version that everyone was kind of excited about. So I gave that a try and get some mixed results. And then enough of the techs here in the office have been using Claude that I've actually swapped to Claude. So it's funny you asked that because I actually took a tip that Rob gave last week, which is doing that lossless markdown. So I had my chat in ChatGPT for my trip and I had moved it to Claude, but I wanted to move it to Hats because I wanted to show Hats off today because I do use that in the office. So I'd asked for a lossless markdown from Claude, and Claude says I am not able to export or save a copy of the conversation. And I literally did it 2 minutes before this request because I actually grabbed the wrong chat. I said, here, hey, how come you were able to do this just a minute ago? And it says, oh, wait, you're right. I can do that. So,
Yeah.
yay.
Well, oh, oops. I can actually. My bad.
Yeah. So sometimes you know their own capabilities more than them. So again, I didn't know about this lossless markdown that Rob taught us last week. I work with him every day. I'm still a novice. I think even the experts like Rob or Pav, they still learn stuff as well constantly. And we have a good laugh oftentimes. Pav and I were having a good laugh over some of the AI.
One question. So when you were talking about editing it, and you were saying you were going back, were you doing most of your editing on the Excel document just by just talking still to the language model? Or were you making edits to the Excel file and then uploading it again and saying, hey, what about this?
It was both actually. So sometimes there's an error with this formula that I had downloaded on the recent file from the AI tool. So I just send a snapshot of the error or just tell it what it is. I definitely learned again, even if you can give the file to AI, it definitely helps. But other times I know it's just a basic, I need to help with a if formula. I'm like, my first tab is called summary. My second tab is called month of May or whatever. And the more details you can give it up front, the better it is. My formula is in cell C2. It is referencing the data that's on this tab called this. So every once in a while, it's just a quick screenshot. Other times I would make a
Got it.
change. It's always a back and forth. If it gets it right on the first time, your request was either really simple or it's wrong. So,
All right.
Well,
It's time to share poll results, right?
yes,
yeah,
sir.
So the correct answer for the most commonly used AI platform is what, Caroline?
It's ChatGPT, but you better watch out because Claude AI is coming up to get
nice.
it.
So I was watching CNBC a few weeks ago and they had a company on, I think they were called a 100X and they do data analytics. And they actually showed this awesome graph. It was not market share, but it was essentially a measure of current users who plan to use a product more than they're currently using it. And ChatGPT was kind of on this flat line. And over the last 3 months, it started to dip. And Claude was much lower than it. And over the last 3 months, it's skyrocketed to up to 40%. And the CEO of this company actually said that is the highest percentage of any company that they've ever had that measurement on. So Claude is coming for ChatGPT.
ChatGPT is now coming out with Codex, which you install on your local now. And that's basically like Claude code. So I think that's where a lot of the market share was changing. Interesting too. It looks like the consensus is a small sampling, but definitely people are rewriting emails and brainstorming ideas. I mean, by far.
Mm-hmm.
S-
Those are the things I
Search.
use it for most.
I summarize meetings like crazy. I'll talk. One of my chats is going to be about this little bad Larry, the Plod reporter. We'll come back to that. Very cool.
Bye. Questions, comments, concerns, ongoing disputes with your office printer, any AI hallucinations you want to talk about? Let's gab. Anybody have
Definitely
anything that they want to get off their chest?
want to give everybody the ability to chat. If they want to use a mic, they can, but you don't have to be on the spot. If you'd like to type in a question or whatever. I didn't know that ChatGPT was still kind of the lead. I feel like Claude advertisements are everywhere.
I took ChatGPT and I told it to talk to me like a friend. I told it to, remember my inside jokes. It does a lot of fun things for me, which is why I like it. It's got a personality now that I have specifically tailored so that it's fun for me to use. So I won't move to Claude because I love my girly pop chat GPT.
It is funny that there's the concept of a life story, if you will, inside your ChatGPT profile. And that does make it different. The systems are different in how they interact long term. I'm the same way working with ChatGPT so long, and it knows my voice and my preferences. And while I could
Mm-hmm.
export that stuff and use it in Claude skills, it's different. That being said, I actually go back and forth between the two of them a lot. I'll take work that I've done in one platform and then have the other critique it. It's like having a panel to go over your data.
Use Gemini to create images. That's funny. Actually, I have a couple that I would love to show just for funsies since we have a
Do
smaller
it.
group today.
Let's do it. I'll stop by sharing. You can take the screen.
So I am going to ask for Rob's forgiveness before I show this.
Oh, I-
Please know that I love you and you are an amazing boss.
okay.
So here we go. So this is Rob and what happens in his brain when he's stressed out.
That's out there, man.
So what originally caused me to make this image was that I was making superhero images of myself. And then I had this picture of Rob and I said, make Rob a circus performer. And it made him a ringleader. His Gemini
Yeah.
made you a ringleader and then merging a meme template into the image. So I said, make it like the SpongeBob meme where he's freaking out. We have memories over here, main control panel, man from image, just so many weird Rob faces. I made Tab a metal god and I made the cheese chess god. You know, why not? We were having a good time talking about things we could create in Gemini, and you can put anything into Gemini and say, I would like a picture of, and it'll give you something. It might not be good, but it'll give you something.
That was fun.
Thanks.
One of the things I plan to start talking about soon, AI recorders are coming up as a hot topic. People are asking a lot about what should they do for recording meetings. And the problem becomes sharing stuff with your team. That also becomes like privacy issues. Definitely, I need to tell people that you're recording. Don't just record. I
Florida is
bring
a
this,
two-party consent state.
yeah, I bring this to a lot of meetings. It actually sits on the back of my phone, right? And I always ask people, I'm like, hey, just so we don't lose anything from the meeting, you mind if I record? And this Plod device is awesome. It's great to take this, and then when you're done with a meeting in person, come back, feed the transcription in to ChatGPT or Claude, and basically say, hey, what were some action points here that don't look like they got discussed? And if you have the Plod service, there's a service that comes with this device, and they now have a Teams function, by the way. They just added that, which we'll be experimenting with internally over here. But you can install an app on your computer that will allow you to capture audio from any web meeting, any webinar, because
That's
sometimes you can't even bring recorders in to webinars and stuff. Not saying that again, you shouldn't probably be cautious of the legal things in your state and courteous to people there. But again, I find it's really nice because you're not always listening all the time. So I can actually show it when we're here, because once you install Plot, it actually automatically pops up on all your calls when you've got audio. And so you can see, like, in the background while I'm working here on one of my screens, I can literally highlight meeting highlights through this. And I can take screenshots during the call too. And it'll use this as context, what I've done, to feed into the Plod platform, which is really
Ooh, that's
interesting.
cool.
Yeah. So if I'm in Plod, I start to put them in. If we have some internal ops meetings, these can go here. My account management calls can go in here. We did a site visit with a customer 2 Fridays ago. It went through 5 different meetings while we were on site and went through different parts of the business. It was more than just getting a summary. It was really pulling out these different facts that were high level, which is pretty cool.
You're never going to remember everything said in a meeting. So that's such a helpful tool.
Are we ready to wind this down, guys? Any fun facts to part us with, Caroline?
Your fun fact of the day, everyone in the chat, is that bees hold hands, their little bee paws, and they fall asleep in flowers. And the term the bee's knees, bees do have knees, and they are tiny buckets that they stuff full of pollen. Isn't that fun?
The
Oh,
bees,
man.
indeed. Always full of
All
fun,
right.
Caroline.
Please make sure you vote on the next topic so that we know what we're talking about.
We have a couple topics coming up. We actually have some lead time now. AI governance is coming up in a topic. All the shadow AI that is going on that you don't know about that is happening. And then what was it, 65% plus, Caroline? Something like that last
Oh,
meeting.
yeah. 65%.
Ellie from Inbox Zero is going to come on, and he's a serial entrepreneur. Yeah. And so he wrote a tool because he was like, why am I paying an administrative assistant or an executive assistant to go through my email if I could train AI to do it? And I actually used a lot of different tools before I landed on his. He's going to join us, talk about his journey, what made him build the tool, and also we'll show it a little bit. But I'm hoping that some people that either manage some insanely busy inboxes or some people who know of a person in their org that does, that they get something out of that. So I'm excited for
Exactly.
content to come, you know?
Yeah, we've got so many fun shows coming up. Thank you, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you on our next episode 3.
See you soon, everyone. Have a great day.
Bye.